It would certainly be a good fit for a top European side, who will be missed at this World Cup. There is no debate that Roberto is a fantastic and successful manager. The questions come with his day-to-day man management style. Concerns were raised while at Manchester City, but I think this type of assignment will negate that issue somewhat. Talk behind the scenes were that he was a tyrant in the dressing room, and had players hat turned on him at the end. This would explain the FA Cup defeat against Wigan on the 11th of May 2013. He was fired less than 48 hours later, and his time with the Blues came to an end. More from Man City Square. His career with Manchester City had begun in December of 2011, following a less than tasteful firing of Mark Hughes. The Welshman seemingly waving goodbye to the home crowd after a 4-3 win against Sunderland. A week later, Roberto Mancini took charge of his first game, kept a clean sheet and won convincingly. That same Stoke City side then beat us in the 5th round of the FA Cup to end our domestic trophy hopes. Manchester United had eliminated us in the League Cup only a month earlier after a 4-3 aggregate victory. That would be the closest the Italian would come to a League Cup triumph, unlike his successors who have now both raised the trophy. His first transfer window saw the addition of Patrick Vieira and English winger Adam Johnson. Meanwhile, 5 players, including record signing Robinho, went out on loan. Eventually ending 5th, it was a sign of things to come under Roberto. His first full season saw more big signings, 2 of which are still at the club and another 2 who still publicly have recently stated their fondness for the side. Edin Dzeko came in January to join Mario Balotelli as the 2 names in that last category. David Silva and Yaya Toure both joined in the pre-season, and are both still here. Heading out of the club were big names of Robinho, Benjani, Martin Petrov, Stephen Ireland and Valery Bojanov. 9 defeats in the league saw us finish 3rd in the league. It was the highest in the Premier League era, along with that famous FA Cup win. The league position meant Manchester City would take part in Europe's elite club competition the following season. Finally, Champions League football was coming to the Etihad. The next season saw Premier League success in the most dramatic way. Even neutrals were on the edge of their seats as City began in the driving seat before seemingly throwing it away. An Edin Dzeko header and a last-minute Aguero strike still brings chills to the spine. Many big-name players left. Shay Given, Craig Bellamy and Sean Wright-Phillips all left. Meanwhile, Patrick Vieira retired and took charge of the youth side. In came 2 defenders, Arsenal's Gaël Clichy and Stefan Savic along with Castel Pantilimon. Attacking-wise, Samir Nasri followed Clichy from Arsenal while Sergio Aguero also arrived. Along with the league success was the 6-1 victory over United at Old Trafford. Still remember that game as United were pulled apart in sensational fashion. But there were also cracks starting to appear at the club too. The biggest negative incident of the season was Carlos Tevez refusing to play in the Champions League game against Bayern Munich. It led to Roberto Mancini stating that Tevez would not play for City again. As a result, Tevez went on an extended golfing trip. Reality was never going to be as simple as that. Talking many years after the incident, Tevez revealed his side of the story. He had been warming up before the halftime whistle, and was assuming he'd come on in the second half. At 2-0 down heading down the tunnel, it was clear City needed something. At the start of the second half, Tevez was again told to warm up, only for Edin Dzeko to be substituted off for Nigel de Jong. A very defensive change, considering the attacking lineup initially announced. Now maybe it was to contain Bayern and then introduce Tevez after 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe not. Either way, Edin was furious at being subbed, and the argument between he and Mancini then turned to Tevez, who refused to warm up yet again. The Argentinian was ready to go. Either way, the 2 did eventually call a truce and Tevez came back to help win the title. He would leave the Blues after Mancini